Hello everyone, thanks for joining us today. We're going to be doing a four-part series on home inspections. It's a tough market out there right now for buyers in Grand Junction and actually the entire western slope area. Homes for sale aren't as plentiful out here as we'd like, so that means it's actually a seller's market right now. You'll be in fierce competition with other buyers when you're out there looking for homes. But that also means that you as a buyer need to be armed as much as possible with as much information as possible when you plunge into the home buying process, and especially once you go under contract. So that's why we decided to do this video series, a four-part series called What's Up with Home Inspections in Mesa County. So let's go ahead and get started with part one. What is a home inspection? Well, a home inspection is, of course, an inspection of the home that you're contracted to buy. So you do this after you go under contract on a home. It's going to be conducted by a trained and certified home inspector. And yes, there are professionals out there who do this for a living. They're going to investigate both the inside and the outside of the home that you're going to buy. And they're going to be looking for significant flaws, damage, or other potential problems that you may not have seen with your little starry eyes when you first toured the home. Okay, so the inspector's going to check things like the siding, the roof, the basement, the attic, and all kinds of things in between. They're going to test your electrical outlets. They'll even check in the electrical box to see if it's wired safely and properly. Inspectors also look for water stains, water damage, all kinds of things. So it's usually about a 3 or 4 hour inspection process. And at the end of their inspection, the inspector will furnish you, the buyer, with a report of their findings. This report's going to have details in it. It's going to have a summary. It's going to have photos. And when we get into part two of this series, we're going to actually dig in to an actual home inspection so you can see for yourself what the report looks like and some of the issues that are uncovered in these inspections. So let's talk about what a home inspection is not. A home inspection is not an appraisal. We're going to cover appraisals in another video later on. But appraisals are done by appraisers, and they're specifically trained about home value and trying to tell the lender how much your home that you're going to buy will be worth. So home inspectors are not appraisers, totally different expertise. A home inspection is also not an approval or disapproval of the home itself. That's something that you're going to decide based on reading the report, whether you want to move forward with the contract or not. It's also not a guarantee that all the problems with the home have been found. And now, why is that? Well, that's because home inspectors, they simply can't just tear out the whole house to see every little wire and every little thing that's going on in the home, because it isn't their home. It still belongs to the seller. So even though you wish that they had done that, they simply can't do it. It's more of a general view, a macro view, if you will, but still pretty detailed, of all the systems and issues that could be going on that they can spot. Home inspections are not the definitive word on any of the issues that turn up in a report. So that's because, again, home inspectors are generalists. They're not electricians, they're not licensed plumbers, they're not HVAC experts. In fact, most good, experienced home inspectors will actually recommend that you have one of those experts inspect further when an inspector finds a trouble spot in the report. Okay, so let's talk about when to order a home inspection. We recommend hiring a home inspection as soon as you go under contract and during what many states call the due diligence period of the contract. This is actually the honeymoon period from the time that you sign it. It's usually around 10 or 14 days of a due diligence period. And this is one of the few times when you can actually back out of a deal without financial consequences. And a home inspection is one of the best tools you can have for making that decision. Now, in each market, there are usually several inspectors to choose from, but ask your agent for their recommendation of home inspectors. Most experienced agents like me and Carol, we've worked with many inspectors in the past, and we actually do know who the good ones are and maybe the not so good ones. Now, let's talk about why get a home inspection. Well, we sort of touched on it already, but initially it might seem pretty obvious, but really, don't you want to know what could be wrong with a property before you buy it rather than after you've moved in? These home inspectors will crawl in and out of so many homes. They truly do know where to look and what to watch for. More than you would know, and certainly even more than we realtors would know. Okay? So, another way to look at it is, wow, I don't want to spend the money on it. Well, ask yourself, are you really going to look under the kitchen sink when you're touring a home? Are you going to look in the attic? And if you do, what would you even be looking for? Do you know, for example, what evidence of rodent intrusion looks like? What about the electrical panel? Do you have those kind of eyes that can tell you if that box is grounded properly? Do you have equipment to detect moisture in the walls? Or even, do you think of this? Probably not. So those are all good reasons on why you should get a home inspection. Now, what does a home inspection cost? Well, typically a home inspection costs anywhere from $300 to $500, depending on the region that you're living in or that you're buying in. It could even cost a little bit more if you add on to the original inspection. For example, by getting a radon test. Let's talk about that for a minute. A radon test could cost you $100 or more extra. In the Grand Junction and Grand Valley region, we highly recommend you get a radon test. It seems that more and more homes are turning up with radon lately. And it's a dangerous gas that's kind of a silent emission of radon. And it's serious, but the good news is it's very, very easily remedied. And so we recommend during the inspection process, go ahead and get a radon test. And if it turns up, you can compel the seller to have it mitigated. Anyway, that's a good thing to be looking for in costs. And usually our clients ask us, is it worth it? Our answer is always a resounding yes. I mean, why would you risk not knowing about harmful mold, for example, that could be in your house, or radon like we just talked about, or that cross-grounded electrical box? The air conditioner that's not cooling properly, how do you know if it's really cold? Or are there foundation cracks in the basement? Yeah, it's worth it to pay somebody to find that out for you. Ultimately, it's your decision whether to get a home inspection. Our job is to give you our very best counsel, and in this situation, we always recommend a home inspection. So that's it for part 1 of the series. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you'll have access to the other 3 parts of this series. And again, in part 2 next, we're going to dig into an actual home inspection report so you can see for yourself what these look like and the kinds of things that are found. Thanks for joining us.